Welcome to Maher Ventriloquist Radio. It's time to have fun, laugh, and learn with Tom, Ken, and Mark.
Hey everybody, this is Tom Crowl, and I want to welcome you to the very first episode of Maher Ventriloquist Radio. Very excited to be here. This is something new for us. Mark, Ken, and I are just going to sit down, have a couple conversations, share a little bit about ventriloquism, a little bit about ourselves, some insights into the business, and you get to be the fly on the wall and listen to all this. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have some laughs, and I don't want to put you off any longer, so let me bring my cohorts on the line. We'll get this thing started.
Hey everybody, welcome today to this episode. I'm Mark Wade, along with my buddies Tom Crowl and Ken Groves. And we're going to be talking a little bit about how Maher Studios came to be with us three in control of it. We're going to talk about, I'm going to stop right there.
We're in control?
Well, as much as humanly possible. Yeah, how we met with our friend Clinton Detweiler and the Maher Studios, and how we've taken it from where Clinton had it to where we are today, and even some future things that we're going to be doing with Maher Studios. And we thought you'd like to listen in and have some fun with us.
Okay? That sounds like a great idea.
Sounds like a good idea to you? Okay.
That sounds good.
I met Clinton Detweiler decades ago. I was writing for his magazine. I started out with the Maher Course, and I wrote to him and said, I do writing as well. And he said, well, submit a column to me. And I wrote for him for probably 20 or 25 years. And I had close contact with Maher Studios and with Clinton and Adelia and with Joy, who worked in the office there as well. And when I got a very unfortunate phone call a few years ago from Joy saying her father had passed away kind of suddenly, she said, would you be interested in taking Maher over? And I said, yeah, I would. And, I wasn't prepared at that point to, but I said, yes, we didn't want Maher to die. And so I enlisted the aid of two good friends of mine. Tom.
Who were they?
Tom and Ken. Well, you guys were fourth and fifth on the list. I had these other two good, no, I'm kidding. We had you two guys in mind, of course. I had in mind when we started putting Maher together. I said, what can we do to bring Maher back? Maher was practically on his deathbed because they closed the studio in 2006, and the only thing that was really around that was Maher was the course. And Clinton always promised to keep the course available. So at that point, we decided, well, maybe we should upgrade the course, add some products, and even bring back the old NAV, but in a different form, which we call it then the International Ventriloquist Society. So keeping all that in mind, that is where we are today. And so I brought Tom and Ken on board, and here we are.
So let's talk about our backgrounds a little bit, because I don't know if everybody knows, what we've done. So let's tell them a little bit about us, okay?
Why don't you start,
That's
Tom?
right. Okay, I owe everything I do to Ken. So Ken, go ahead and tell us about you.
I'm wonderful. Well, go ahead and tell them a little bit about you, Tom. A lot of people have no clue.
Yeah, well, neither do I.
About you.
It was it was that night in college I'm talking about. I have no clue what happened before that. Well, I started out wanted to be a magician. I always loved ventriloquism, but I always wanted to be like Mark Wilson or David Copperfield or Doug Henning, and I followed the magic path. Although ventriloquism was always hovering around there. In 1984, I went full-time pro as a magician and never looked back. And so, as I progressed over the years, my wife joined the show. We had a son in 94. He's, at the time of recording this, 21 and in college. He joined the show, and we traveled all around the country doing fairs, festivals, cruise ships, all different kinds of things. 2005, she decided she wanted to pursue her own career rather than be traveling all the time. And I called up Ken. I said, hey, I'm interested in getting back into ventriloquism. Would you teach me? And Ken said, sure, come on over. So I loaded down my car full of puppets.
Loaded up the trunk, and he moved to Beverly.
It was more than one trunk, Mark. It was. It took me like a day. Yeah, it took me a day to move all those into Ken's place.
All those Piggly Wiggly bags. Okay.
Yeah, yep. So, and then, I caught the curve at the right time because Jeff wasn't huge yet, and Terry Fader hadn't won America's Got Talent. So, as I developed my show, still, full time, it was tough moving from magic into ventriloquism. I thought it'd be a lot easier. I really did. Learned that no, this is a real skill and a real talent, and
Well, for most people.
Well, yeah, but if you want to do it right, it is. And
That's exactly right.
So I took that turn and moved over, and then I just kind of rode the wave, and I got into the corporate market, and now I travel around and I do shows for corporate events where I'm customizing the material for them, having a blast, and just thrilled to be working with Maher. I mean, that's my story. So, but Ken, let's talk about you.
Well, when I was a kid, I waited anxiously by the mailbox every other month or so, waiting on the NAAV magazine to come so I could read it and devour it and go, one day I'm going to be good, and I'm going to know what's going on because of this magazine. Couldn't wait to get it and read it. And then I remember as a kid, well, no, I wasn't a kid actually anymore. I was in high school, and Mom and Dad went out west, and I went with them. We stopped by Clinton and Adelia's and talked with them, and he showed me the workshop and that. And I thought I'd died and gone to heaven, and it was pretty cool, getting to actually meet the man that I had read so much about in the magazine over the years. And then later on in my life, as I was doing the ventriloquism full-time all over the place, I got to write for the NAAV, and I thought I'd made it then. I mean, you can't get any better than that.
The ultimate, right?
It was great. And in '84, I went full-time doing VET with the Officer Fill program, doing safety programs in schools in about 11 states. And I worked with them for 5 or 6 years, and then I moved on. And I started doing clubs and production shows in Vegas and Atlantic City, and still doing the school shows all over. I've done national TV 14 times, 625 cruises, and now I'm in a theater show that I kind of manage and help write and help produce, and that there at the Amish Country Theater. And I've been there 3 years, and I'm planning on getting old and dying there, I hope. And because I've really enjoyed not traveling, not being on the road, not knowing all the flight attendants by their first name, from traveling so much. And so it's just one of those things that it's great having your own place in a theater. And so I'm really enjoying that. And a few years back, Mark called me and said, "Hey, what do you think about helping me with the convention?" And Mark and I started working on the convention back in 98, 99, somewhere in there, and been working on the convention ever since. And when Clinton passed and the family asked Mark to do it, Mark said, "Yeah, I'll do it, but I'm going to have, some people help me." And he mentioned my name, and of course, Joy and the family said, "Sure, no problem there." And I'm glad to help Mark with this and also the convention, because Mark Wade's a great.
I got to give you some more money. Guess there'll be another
So that's my story,
I started out as an elementary school teacher. I went to school at Ohio University, have a teaching degree, and I took ventriloquism. I had an interest in it back in grade school and kind of practiced and fooled around with it through high school and through college. And I actually used it in the classroom a little bit to introduce vocabulary words and things that I did with the classroom. Well, I went to a showcase and was working, and I had an agent see me. I said, "You're better than the guys we've been hiring out here on the fair circuit and festival circuit." So he said, "I've got 2 new acts I want you to open for." Well, I had the summers off, so it was perfect to make a little extra money. He said, "Reba McEntire is a new act that we're going to introduce out in Virginia." So I went out and opened for her. Then he called me. He said, "I got another act that's new, Garth Brooks. I want you to open for him." So I opened for Garth Brooks and Reba McEntire, and it led to about 8 or 10 years of working the fair circuit every summer, traveling all over the country and even out of the country, doing fairs and festivals, opening for these country stars. Of course, I did my share of the free stages as well. Well, because of my teaching background, I thought, I wonder what I could do with this elementary school business. And I had an elementary principal friend of mine that I'd worked with call me and say, "Hey, if I line up a school assembly program for you, can you come up and do it?" And I got a couple other schools. I said, "Well, I guess I haven't never done that before." So I put something together, and it was a rousing success. And so I kind of went into that market because it was a natural with me with my teaching degree. Taught, started writing. I continued to write for Maher Studios and other people. And I've been all over the country, out of the country, lecturing and performing. And especially my field is kid show stuff. But I've done my share of corporate events. I've been on national television like Ken about 8 or 9 times. And Yeah, it's just been great. It was a great hobby when I first started. It turned into a hobby that got out of hand and made me full time with this. And this is my 37th or 38th year. I've kind of forgotten which now that I've done it. I started in 78 full time. So that's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
I can't count that high, Mark.
I know.
So
candles on a birthday cake.
Well, now that we've taken over Maher, and that doesn't sound quite right, but
like a coup, doesn't it?
What's one of the favorite things you guys that we've done so far since we started with this?
I love doing the scripts with you guys. I think it's really a blast to sit down and write with other people, and we three just everything that we write. We end up laughing at our stuff, and know if we laugh at it under the watchful eye of putting this together, other people are going to laugh and enjoy it as well. So writing the scripts has been one of the fun things I've enjoyed doing with you.
Okay.
Well, I've enjoyed going to Mark's house down in Florida and just sitting there and just enjoying the weather when it's got like a foot of snow here in Ohio. And putting my feet up and enjoying the retired life with Mark Wade. That's what I really enjoy.
God, I wish I was retired. I'm busier now than when I was working full time. I'm still doing a lot of shows, but just, jeez.
I want to really open up what we do to the listeners of this podcast radio thing. Hey, Ken, you want to tell them what we did when we were sitting down on the couch and Mark had walked out of the room?
Oh, no.
Is that when we stripped down to our boxer shorts and just sat there?
Well, yeah.
Folks, it's not easy.
He left the room.
It's not easy.
So Tom and I just stripped down to our boxer shorts and we just sat there on the couch and just was talking and writing. And he came back in and he joined into the thing, talking and that and writing. And then he kind of caught on that we didn't have our pants on anymore.
Well, it took him forever. He walked back into the room.
I'm focused.
He was. You were. You had walked out of the room. I don't know what you went to do, and you come back in, and you're not looking at us. You go over to the counter. You're doing some things, and we're talking to you, and you're talking to us. And then he turns around. He sits down on his chair, and he's looking at his pad. And when he looked up,
he's throwing out a few more comments and looking us in the eye and never looked down once. And we're sitting there in the boxer shorts.
I guess they should have put up that sign, clothes are optional. I guess I forgot to put that sign up. That'll teach me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so much fun when we all get together.
Oh my God,
I just always love it. And but one of the things that I'm as much as I enjoy the camaraderie that we have, the friendships that we have, one of the things that I'm most proud of is the fact that we've been able to preserve history. Especially, with Clinton's original, the Clinton Detweiler version of the course being on Kindle now, it will be there forever. The things that we've been able to do to, bring Maher back, not just the scripts, but all the different things that we've been able to put out that would have been lost to history if we hadn't done it.
Right. It's good that
I
we
agree with that. And
preserve that.
The thing that I like also on this whole deal is we have been able to expand and grow it and bring it into the 19th and a half century, we're not fully into the 20th century yet, but we're getting there,
Sometimes it feels like it with the software, I'll guarantee you. Especially when people go, hey, I didn't get my thing I ordered.
Yeah, it's a challenge, mainly when you have two mentally challenged people when it comes to computers, and one guy that knows a few things. And, it's hard to get into all this modern crap that's going on with computers,
I still like my fax machine. I know, it's old. It's old, okay.
Wait, we brought you kicking and screaming into this century, Mark.
21st century.
You used to have a flip phone.
He still does.
I still do have one someplace. I use my iPhone 6 now, proudly. I'm going to get the iPhone 6S shortly here.
Ooh,
I like that.
Show off.
Mm-hmm. He won't know what to do with it, but he'll have it.
Well, I got it. It makes a great doorstop. I'll tell you. Just put it right there and wedge it. I'll tell you.
Well, guys, we're just about at the end of our time limit for this podcast. So what do you want to talk about next time?
Let's take a cake.
There's an awkward pause, wasn't there?
Well, what if we had our listeners tell us what they want to hear us talk about?
Oh, that'd be good. That'd be
we could
excellent.
do that, and then we could do what we want. No, I'm kidding. take their suggestions and go through it.
Fantastic. Well, that's what we'll do. We'll ask everybody at the end of this, head on over to the site or email us. We'll include the email address and everything here in a few minutes. And let us know what you want to hear about. In the meantime, we're going to keep talking about different things until we hear from you. And that way we can keep this a regular weekly podcast.
Perfect. Sounds like joyous fun.
It does.
Keep your pants on, boys. We'll be having some fun here.
I hope you enjoyed the very first episode of Maher Ventriloquist Radio. If you'd like to offer up a subject you'd like to hear Mark, Ken, and I talk about, share our experiences with, we'll be happy to do it. All you have to do is email us, and you can email me, Tom, at maherstudios.com. That's MaherStudios.com, maherstudios.com. Just Tom, hey, let me know what you want us to talk about, and I'll submit the ideas to Ken and Mark. We'll see what we can come up with. In the meantime, don't forget that Maher Studios has a lot of great free content on the world of ventriloquism. We have our Maher blog, and Mark always publishes a post there every week. He used to do Mondays, but the podcasts are going to start coming out on Mondays, this very show. So he's going to be moving over to Wednesdays. And you'll be able to hear the podcast there on Mondays. Eventually, after we get a few of these under our belt, we're going to submit it to iTunes, and then we're going to encourage you to subscribe there or through your favorite podcast player. Of course, you'll always be able to hear it over on the blog. And on Wednesdays, Mark will have his articles. They're always insightful about different aspects of the art. We've also got the Maher Ventriloquist Forum. And if you haven't been on the forum, there's no charge to get a free user account on Maher. That allows you to have an account where you can order our electronic products, and they'll appear in a menu so you can easily access them whenever you want. But the forum is a free bonus. You just sign up for a user account at the site. No charge for that. And on the forum, you get a very good discussion on the art of ventriloquism. And a lot of people say, well, wait a minute, I'm on Facebook all the time, and I'm in all these Facebook groups. What's the difference? Why should I go over to Maher to be in that forum? Well, it's a lot more focused discussion, and I think you'd get a lot out of it. We've got some incredible people who go in there and they talk about different things on the forum. They're forming new friendships. They're building the community, and that's what ventriloquism is all about, the community. Hey, listen, I'm not going to tie up any more of your time today. Go on over to maherstudios.com. Check out everything that's there. I appreciate it. We'll be back with you next Monday for another episode of Maher Ventriloquist Radio.
You've been listening to Maher Ventriloquist Radio, sponsored and produced by maherstudios.com.